Despite intense pressure from some far-left cable news hosts and members of Congress, President Biden deserved credit for largely ignoring the extremists in his party and standing with Israel. Of course, the right never gave him credit, even for bucking left-wing extremists, but that's to be expected. But now, according to a new report, the president appears to be caving to some of that left-wing pressure, apologizing for a remark he made expressing totally understandable skepticism of the death toll numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry, an agency which sounds official but is actually run by Hamas. During a news conference late last month, he made clear he takes any numbers coming from Hamas with a big grain of salt.
I have no notion that the Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed.
But the very next day, according to a new report from the Washington Post, the president met privately with 5 prominent Muslim Americans who told him he was being insensitive by questioning the civilian death toll put out by Hamas. And the president was apologetic, telling the group, quote, "I'm sorry, I'm disappointed in myself. I will do better." Better? Meaning accepting Hamas at face value? Trusting Hamas? Like that Israeli airstrike was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of civilians at that hospital in Gaza, a claim completely debunked within days? Or trusting Hamas that the death toll isn't coming from any more errant rockets at all, and that it's all civilians as opposed to fighters who are dying? It's not surprising that the left-leaning cable news report the Hamas reported death toll, though, is gospel.
Palestinian health officials report more than 14,000 civilians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th.
5,000 children dead, 13,000, 14,000 Palestinians killed overall.
Now, I'm not saying that the Hamas claims should be totally ignored. They have access to information that almost no one else does. But we have to be very careful not to treat them like a credible source. And for President Biden to have to apologize for stating the obvious. Joining us now is David Shuster. He is a former correspondent for NBC and Fox News, among others, and was on the ground in Israel when Hamas attacked in 2017. David, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so why do you think that the public, the media, should be skeptical of the Hamas numbers, and what do you make of President Biden apologizing?
Well, from my experience, the Hamas numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry have often been wrong, and they've been overstating them. And one of the reasons is because the Gaza Health Ministry makes no distinction between civilians who are killed, women and children, and terrorists who are killed. In other words, the 1,000 terrorists that Israel killed after October 7th and their bodies were returned to Gaza, is that number included in the number? It looks that way. When Israel is killing terrorists in Gaza City right now, those bodies are also counted by the Gaza authorities in terms of their overall count. So that's the first problem. The other problem is that the way that when you think about Western democracies and functioning morgues, it's very easy to think, OK, we can tally how many people are killed because they're taken to the morgue, they're processed. It doesn't work that way in Gaza. The morgues are not functioning the way they do in the United States. Furthermore, there's a cultural desire to bury bodies within 24 hours in the Muslim faith. So oftentimes bodies are not even taken to the morgue, and the health officials, they rely on, OK, well, you're at that apartment building. How many people do you think were killed there? And somebody passes on a long number. Maybe it's 100. Well, that may be accurate, but it may not be accurate. And there's an incentive built in the Gaza Health Ministry to accept the higher number because it helps them for propaganda purposes.
And when they say 5,000 children, again, this is related to something we talked about earlier. I guess that could mean anyone under the age of 18, no matter what role they might have been playing at 16 or 17 in terms of fighting against Israel.
Well, and it's not just that. It's also no matter what the reason is for their death. There's no distinction made between, let's suppose a baby dies because of a heart condition and is brought to the hospital. That's counted as part of Israel's aggression. There's no distinction made between people who die because of bombs and airstrikes and people who die of natural causes at a time when there are airstrikes. So, again, the numbers in terms of children, it's hard to distinguish between those who, yes, some children have been killed by Israeli airstrikes, and that's horrible, and Israel laments that. But not all of the people who are being counted as part of the death toll necessarily died at the hands of the Israelis or necessarily died as a result of this conflict.
David Shuster, good to see you, as always. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.